Hello, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our learning session today. We're very happy to have all of you joining us virtually. My name is Christine Quintanilla, and it's my pleasure to guide you through today's event as we gather to learn, share insights, and strengthen our profession as real estate practitioners. This program is especially beneficial for those who are preparing to take the real estate board examinations. Before we begin, may we kindly request everyone to keep your microphones on mute during the program to avoid background noise. You may send your questions later through the chat box for our Q&A portion. For those who haven't registered their attendance yet, please check the chat box for the link. To start our program on a meaningful note, may I invite everyone to join us in prayer. To lead us in the opening prayer, may I call on Trustee Syra Soriano.
Hello, everyone. Let us put ourselves in the holy presence of the Lord. Lord Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for another opportunity, Lord, to learn from the experts. Lord, we thank you for the grace that you have given us. We are put into this position to have influence, Lord, in the marketplace. Lord, for today's session, allow us to just have a learner mindset, Lord, and may we apply this in our career, our endeavors, Lord, to glorify your name. Lord, we ask everything in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
To learn more about our organization, let us now watch the short video introducing NREA National and the NREA Metro Rizal chapter. to formally welcome
Miss Christine, sorry, you're on mute. Yeah. Thank you.
everyone and share a few words with us. It is my pleasure to introduce our chapter president. Please help me welcome President Joy Gochanko for her opening remarks through video message.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. On behalf of NREA Metro Rizal Chapter, welcome to our e-learning hub, Reblex Success Series. Thank you so much for spending your Saturday with us as we continue learning together and preparing for the Real Estate Board exam. We are also happy to have our very own in-house speakers and fellow NREA members with us today. They will share their knowledge and experience to help us grow in the profession. I encourage everyone to stay engaged, take notes, and make the most of this learning opportunity. And of course, watch out for more exciting learning sessions coming soon in our NREA e-learning hub. Because here in NREA, we believe in learning and growing together as one NREA. So once again, welcome everyone. Enjoy the learning. Happy Saturday. God bless.
Thank you very much, President Joy, for that inspiring message. For the past few weeks, we have been conducting our NREA MRC Reblex Success Series. Now, we are down to our second to the last session before the actual board exam. Before we proceed, let us take a moment to look back at the topics we have covered in our previous sessions as follows. Mastering Condominium Concept, presented by Sir Victor Solidum. Mastering Foundation of Appraisal, lectured by Engineer Teddy Dalope. BroTech, Elevating Real Estate Through Architectural Awareness, conducted by our very own architect Jess Chua, and Real Estate Taxation, Estate and Donors Tax, shared by Attorney Tin Simbran. To introduce our distinguished speaker for today's session, may I now call on Sir Victor Solidum.
Thank you, Miss Christine. Our first speaker is a highly accomplished real estate appraiser and broker whose career reflects both technical expertise and remarkable early achievements in the field of property valuation. Starting his appraisal career at the age of 21 with the respected firm Cuervo Appraisers, Inc., he quickly rose through the ranks and became one of the youngest appraisal report signatories of Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, accredited appraisal company at just 27 years old. Over the course of his career, he has participated in more than 1,100 appraisal reports across 16 regions of the Philippines, serving major banks, corporations, government agencies, and private clients. In addition to his professional practice, he is also an educator and mentor, lecturing in real estate appraisal programs and serving as an industry leader within the National Real Estate Association Metro Rizal chapter, where he currently holds a key leadership position. It's my honor, and let's give a warm welcome to Professor John Conrad A. Cruz.
And thank you very much for that long introduction, Sir Victor. No, so I was assigned to speak about the 3 approaches to value for today. Okay, so is the screen visible po? Visible naman po ba?
Yes.
Okay, so thank you. All right, so today we will have a lecture that is a combination of theoretical and practical, no, and I'll try to compress it within our 1 hour time, no.
Prof. Conrad, can you reshare your screen? Kasi medyo may ano ata, may
may
gray part.
Okay, wait, sige. Ayan, how about daw?
Actually, naka-agree part lahat. Pero sige, can you stop
Wait.
sharing and then reshare po ulit?
Okay, sige.
Okay.
Ano?
Okay na? Okay na. Wait lang, ah.
Okay. It's still the same. Sige.
Ayan,
Sige
okay na.
lang.
The same on my end. It's still green. Thank you.
Bakit kaya? Can you try na ikaw mag-share muna ng screen, Trusty? Yung sinend ko na PowerPoint?
Okay, let me just download it na lang. Sige.
How about, okay na ba ngayon?
Let me just check what you sent to me.
Sige.
Still the same, Prof. Conrad.
How about now? Oh, wala, ba't ganun?
Ayan, I think that's better.
Yan,
Okay,
Ay.
sige.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. Sige. So, our discussion for today is the three approaches to value. Ayan. So, we will be basing all of the definitions that we will be discussing on the International Valuation Standards 2025. Kasi meron pong 2022, I think. And so, the most recent that we will be using is 2025. So, we will be combining yung definitions dito and we will be showing paano ba sila ginagawa in real life. Okay? So, this is a combination of theoretical definitions and practical application. Okay, so I hope that I'll be able to try and fit this in an hour. Okay, so basically the first thing that we have to tackle or discuss is ano ba yung three approaches na yan. So in appraisal here in the Philippines and based on the international valuation standards, we have the three approaches. Number one is the market approach, number two is the income approach, and number three is the cost approach. So we will lightly discuss as much as possible very briefly, and I'll try to be as concise as possible para marami tayong maintindihan. Okay? Ayan. So, market approach. According to the international valuation standards, no, market approach is done by comparing the asset or liability with an identical or comparable asset. So, please take note, comparing the asset. Okay? Comparing the asset. Please remember the word compare. Okay? So mag-case study po tayo. Lumipad ang aming team papunta sa lungsod ng Mandaue sa isla ng Cebu. So dito po tayo mag-a-appraise. Ito yung unang property natin, no. Ito yung picture ng property na yan. These are not AI generated images. These are actual pictures, okay, of the properties that we appraise, no. Okay. So let's go. Market approach. So we have the market value appraisal of, ito yung first case study natin. We have a market value appraisal of a vacant lot in Mandaue City. So the purpose of the appraisal is selling. Okay? So according to the international valuation standards, this is the definition of market value. So it's an estimated amount, and please take note of the keywords, valuation date, between a willing buyer and the willing seller. The buyer has to be willing to buy because if the buyer is under compulsion to buy, that is no longer market value. Why? Bakit po kaya? Because if the buyer is under compulsion to buy, tataasan niya yung presyo. He or she will offer a higher price to buy that property. If the seller naman ay under compulsion to sell, that is no longer market value. Ibebenta nila ng mabilisan, ng palugi, that is forced sale value. Okay? So market value, remember the buyer is willing to sell, the buyer is willing to buy, the seller is willing to sell in an arm's length transaction. It means that they are not trying to influence each other. They are not close to each other. Hindi sila magkamag-anak. Pwede naman magkamag-anak basta yung value na napagkasundoan nila is fair between them. Okay? Ayan. So, the first thing we need to do, unfortunately, we don't have enough time, no? So, we will plot the land. We will create a lot shape. And after inspecting and securing a tax map from the City Hall, it's time to write a report. Okay, so with this definition of the market approach, let's now, okay, proceed to what we really do sa market approach na. So market approach, basically, we need to look for 3 lots for sale or already sold near the vicinity of the property. So locally, in our local language, we call those we call these information comparables or listings. So basically, these are lots for sale or lots that were already sold. If we are appraising a condominium property, condominium units for sale or condominium units that have already been sold. Okay? Yan. But wait, this is the important question. No? Where do we get comparables? Saan nga po ba tayo kukuha ng market data? So number one, if we are appraising in a city, we can get data directly from the city hall. Pag city po pag yung property na ina-appraise natin is located within a city, we can get data directly from the city hall. If it's a municipality, we can get data from the municipal hall. Okay po? There are also many instances in our long career as an appraiser, and I think other appraisers
Last
here.
na po.
Oh, okay, so if there are other appraisers here in our audience, you will, I think, agree that marami pong mga barangay captain, barangay secretaries, mga officials, they are also selling property. So si Cap, okay, punta tayo sa barangay hall and we can ask them for data. 8 out of 10 po, 80 to 90% of the time, you will be able to get a lot for sale doon kay barangay captain, kay barangay secretary, kay barangay kagawad. Okay po? We can also get data from the rural banks in the area. One source of data that I often have to emphasize to everyone present is ang ating mga organizations. Okay? So, I was actually appraising a property in Fairview, I think a year ago, and the son of our chapter president was selling a property there. So I told him, is it still for sale? And then he told me na it's still for sale. So is it okay if I use it for an appraisal report? And then he said yes. So it's important to join organizations with multi-listing services because you will be able to get comparables from your fellow brokers. Okay? And if you are close enough, they will be able to give you lots that were already sold. Okay po? Ayan. So let's go to the market approach. Finally, once we have spoken to the municipal hall or the city hall or the barangay captain or the banks and our fellow brokers, and we've finally gotten our data from the internet. Okay, we all know that there are multiple websites sa internet, no, kung saan maaari tayong kumuha ng mga lots for sale. So as you can see, we have 3 here. This is the property that we are appraising is located within Barangay Pagsabungan in Mandawi City. So as you can see, yung mga lots for sale na nandyan ay also within the same road, within the same barangay. Okay, so it's very important that as much as possible, when we are appraising a property, within 3-kilometer radius. Okay, that is the requirement of the government. Kapag ang client po natin government, hindi dapat lumabas sa 3-kilometer radius yung ating property. Okay? Na yung mga comparables for our property. Excuse me. Ayan. So these are real properties, no, na binebenta at the time. So pinalitan ko lang po yung mga pangalan pero sila po din pa rin yan. Okay? So we have 4,225 square meter property located 1.3 kilometers southeast from the property along the eastbound side of P. Sanchez Street, which is also known as Pagsabungan Road. So this is data. We need at least 3 of these. Okay. Ayan. So once we have the data, we can now arrive at the value of the property using the grid analysis. Okay. So this is an actual grid analysis that we have sent to an actual corporate client. Okay. This is in cooperation with another appraiser. So as you can see, yan, yung 4,225 square meters, ito siya, yung comparable one. Okay? And we have that 4,225 square meters. And then we have yung 45,000 pesos per square meter. Okay? Ito yung price niya. Ayan. So yung 7,303 square meters and then yung 25,000 pesos per square meter, andito siya. Ayan. And lastly, yung 9,998 square meters, Ayan. And yung 30,000 pesos per square meter. Andito siya. Okay? So we applied itong external factors na -10 for each property because we have noticed that they are still for sale. Okay? For sale pa rin sila. So we will be applying a standard discount of 10%. Because ano bang ginagawa lagi ng mga buyers pag bibili sila? Manghihingi po ng discount. Okay? So, if the property listing is slightly negotiable, we can put -5. If it's negotiable, we can put -10. If it's highly negotiable, we can put -15. Okay? So, our property is located in the same barangay as the 3 properties. Okay? So, we will make adjustments. All our properties are superior. So, because they are superior, we have to make deductions. So, mas maganda yung locations ng ating mga comparables kaysa doon sa ating subject. So, we have to make it look like our property. Okay? So, our property is located along, how should I say this? A right of way. A right of way. Unlike listing A and listing C, they are located along two-way road. So that's why we applied -20 for each. And then for the size, mas malaki yung mas malaki yung ating property. So smaller properties are more expensive per square meter than larger properties. So they are superior. That is why we have to make deductions. Okay? Nasa 6,000 square meters yung subject property, but I cannot exactly disclose kasi Data Privacy Act. So this is an actual property, no? Ayan. So after we have computed the sum of the adjustments, we will now apply that to the net price per square meter. So itong -5, -20, and -8, the sum of that is -33. So we will apply -33 to 40,500. So can you please take out your calculators and check if tama? 45,000 less 10%. Ilan po? Makikicheck nga po kung tama. Tama po ba? 45,000 times 0.9. So that's 40,500. And then we reduce it by 33%. Okay, so times 0.7067. Ayan, so that's 27,135. So we now combine etong tatlo, we combine them and then divide them by 3. So the answer would be 23,895 pesos per square meter. We round it off to the nearest thousands and the result is 24,000 pesos per square meter. So our property, which is about 6,000 square meters multiplied by 24,000 square meters, that's the value of our property using the market approach. Okay? Are we clear po ba? Naka-optimize ako ng kaya hindi ko makita yung chat box, sorry. So if you have questions, we will have a question and answer portion at the end of the presentation. Okay? Next, we have the income approach. So the income approach is basically turning future streams of income into a present value. So lagi po pag income approach, if you need to have a property appraised for the income approach, you need to have a stream of income, you need to have a capitalization rate, and you need to have the expenses. Okay? So ito yung definition ng income approach in the international valuation standards. Okay? So just because a property has an income, it doesn't mean that we should use the income approach. No? Laging kailangan may reasonable projections of the amount and timing of future incomes. Okay? Of the subject asset. So usually guys, ito, when we are appraising for income approach, we usually ask for audited financial statements and projections from the client so that we can have justifications. Okay? Ayan. So hindi tayo lumipad ngayon. Ang second case study natin is sa Luzon. So kanina sa Visayas. So ngayon naman sa Luzon, we will be appraising a property, land only, using income approach sa Mabalacat City sa Pampanga. Okay? The property for case 2 for income approach is located within Teco Industrial Park. Okay? So, for the income approach, fair value appraisal of a lot located within Mabalacat City, Pampanga for audit purposes. Okay? Let's define fair value kasi ito yung madalas na question. Sir, Mr. Appraiser, Madam Appraiser, what is the difference between market value and fair value? So a while ago, we were able to define market value as basically yung between a willing buyer and the willing seller, under no compulsion to buy. They are supposed to be in an arm's length transaction. So usually, market value is for selling, for buying, for expropriation. Fair value is entirely different. Okay? Fair value is generally used for audit purposes. Okay? Kapag ang property nyo po ay ino-audit ng mga auditor, katulad ng Punong Bayan ng Daraulio, ng SGV, ng ano pa ba? PWC. So, you will not, as an appraiser, provide a market value appraisal to your client, but you will be providing a fair value appraisal. So, according to the International Valuation Standards, so fair value is defined as the price that would be received to sell an asset or paid to transfer a liability in an orderly transaction between market participants at the measurement date. Okay? So, in other countries, they even use fair value for court cases.
Nakakasya lang rin kami after. So parang,
Kindly mute po, please, if ano. Okay. Ayan. So, how do we apply the income approach? So, the most basic application of the income approach is what we call the direct capitalization method. Okay? So, this is again, like yung kanina doon sa Cebu, sa Mandaue City, the direct capitalization method is, itong direct capitalization method na to is an actual appraisal that we sent to an actual appraisal client. So, ang income nila, okay, ang land area pala nila, sorry, is 4 hectares. Okay, so that's a 4-hectare industrial lot somewhere in Mabalacat City, Pampanga. They are having their property leased out at 28 pesos per square meter. So, we multiply that up 28 pesos per square meter per month. So, that's 1.1 million pesos a month. Multiplied by 12 months to get a year. So that's 13,440,000 pesos a year. So that's their gross income. Gross income meaning we have not yet deducted any expenses, any bad debts. Okay? So we will now apply the vacancy and bad debt. So what's the difference between vacancy and bad debt? Vacancy is there is no renter. There's no renter for the property, diba? So bad debt is sino sa inyo nautangan na dito? Sino sa inyo yung mga nautangan na hindi niyo na alam nyo na you know very much that you will not be able to get back your payment? Ayan, may mga sumasagot. Okay. So ang tawag doon, bad debt. If someone else owes you money and you know you are 100% certain that you will no longer be able to collect that debt, that's called a bad debt. Okay, vacancy is no one owes you anything because no one is renting in the first place. Bad debt is someone has already used your space or borrowed your money and you are 100% certain na hindi na po sila magbabayad sa inyo. So that's bad debt. Okay? Kasi po, di ba sa totoong buhay, when you are leasing a commercial property or a residential property, there are instances na talagang walang renters. Tama po ba? And even if there are some renters, meron po pa talagang instances na yung iba uwi sa probinsya, tatakasan ka, or for one way or another, they will say that they cannot pay their rent to you. So that's called bad debt. Okay, so we have to take that into consideration. However, there are exemptions because our subject property is leasing out their property to a sister company. Okay, so that is why we have 0% bad debt and vacancy rate for 2025. Malino po? So the effective gross income remains untouched. There is no deduction applied to this particular property. But for other properties po, common na meron pong vacancy and bad debts. Okay? So it depends. Ang pinakamalalang kinumpute ko, there was this mall that opened back in 2019 during the pandemic. Nagpa-appraise sila using the income approach. Noong 2020, ang vacancy and bad debt rates nila ay 76%. 76%. So it means that for every 100 pesos that they are earning, they are losing 76 pesos out of 100 pesos na potential na income. Okay? And then we will also have to deduct administration and marketing expenses. Of course, someone will have to manage that income generating property, and for marketing expenses, usually sa broker, you will have to hire brokers or locators to look for renters sa property mo. Okay? So that's typically 5% commission for the marketing expenses. Pero because they are not spending any marketing expenses, so yung total nung administration and marketing expenses, 5%. Okay? So we now have 5% okay, so yung net income na yun, 768,000. So we capitalize it by 5%. That's 255,360,000. Divided by 40,000, that is 6,384 pesos per square meter. Okay po? Okay po ba? Malinaw? So once we capitalize the net operating income, that of 255,360,000, and divide it by the land area, we get the value per square meter. Okay? So you might be wondering, saan po galing, Prof. or Sir or Mr. Appraiser, yung 5% na yan? Okay? So generally, ito kasing subject na to, it already passed the audit nung auditor nung client natin, no? But sometimes the auditors, in our experience, they ask a lot of questions. They would not want a generic 5% lang. So we have a solution for that. So kasi sa income approach, according to the international valuation standards, the income approach requires the estimation of a capitalization rate, a cash flow, and a discount rate when discounting cash flows. There is actually another longer method that we call the discounted cash flow. So we project the income of a property in 10 years and then compute it to get the present value of that 10-year income stream. However, because of time constraints, hindi ko na ma-discuss yun sa inyo. Okay, so kaya yung direct capitalization rate na lang yung na-discuss natin. Pag lumabas sa board exam, yung kanina, direct capitalization rate, so that's just the most basic application of the income approach on land only. So meron kasi tayong discounted cash flow analysis. Okay? So yung capitalization rate, kasi dito, according to the international valuation standards, we have to apply or estimate an appropriate capitalization rate. And this is actually something that the auditors of our clients also ask. So paano nga po ba kunin yung tamang capitalization rate? So here in the Philippines, we have the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas and the treasury.gov.ph. Yung ating mga guys, don't worry pala. I will be sending this slideshow to all of you. Tama. So just please register sa registration page, and then we will be sending this slideshow, this presentation to all of you. Okay? So let's go back. So yung capitalization rate basis, we can use the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas and the treasury.gov.ph. So if you go to these websites, you will see, ayan, yung weekly key interest rates and yung auction results ng T-bills. Okay? So here we can see kung ilan yung interest rate. So ito yung latest, yung 6th of March 2026. By the way, guys, itong BSP, capitalization rate statistics, it changes every week. So if you need to appraise a property using the income approach, using these capitalization rates, you have to make sure that you can get a screenshot nito. Kasi yung auditor nyo, or your client's auditor will have to ask, saan nyo po nakuha yan? They will be asking a lot of questions. So you need to present them with data. Okay? Ayan. So ito yung key weekly interest rates that you can get from the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. And these are the treasury bill rates for that you can get from the Bureau of the Treasury. Okay? Ayan. So for the income approach, capitalization rate, sample computation. So the 364-day treasury bill rate, ito yun. Ito yung screenshot, guys, as of 2024. So 5.786%. Average of November 4. Saan ba yun? Ito guys, yung 364 day treasury bill rate. So this is the percentage, 5.786%. So for the time deposit, we have 1 to 5 years. Yung 4.8793%, it's an average of time deposit. Itong 4.8637% and 4.8949%. Once we get the average of that, we will arrive at 4.8793%. So the average of the treasury bill rate from the Bureau of the Treasury and the time deposit rate from the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, that's 5.3327%. And unfortunately, guys, we are in the Philippines. Wala naman taga BIR dito. Joke lang. So we will have to apply a 20% withholding tax, 'di ba? All our deposits sa bangko are subject to 20% withholding tax. Tignan nyo yung passbook nyo. You will be noticing kapag you earned interest, but only on the interest. For example, you have 100,000 pesos in your bank account. It will not the whole amount will be charged by 20% withholding tax. Only the interest. So for example, if you earn 5 pesos interest on your bank deposit, you will only be taxed by just a peso. Kasi 20% lang ng 5 pesos. Okay? Not the whole amount. So, we will apply the withholding tax of 1.0665% to the average 5.3327, and we will get a market cap rate of, or capitalization rate of 4.2661%. And we round off to the nearest tenths, okay, 10th place, and that is 4.3%. Okay, so that is how we get the capitalization rate for the income approach. Ayan. So lastly, we have the cost approach. So the cost approach, this is the important part of the cost approach. The approach provides an indication of value by calculating the current replacement or reproduction cost of an asset and making deductions for all relevant forms of obsolescence. Okay? So ito yung cost approach methods. We have the replacement cost method, which means or equivalent utility. Replica. Exact replica. For replacement cost, satisfactory substitute, similar asset, equivalent utility. For reproduction cost, we have exact replica. Okay? So, lumipad na naman po ang ating team this time to Mindanao para walang tampuhan. May Luzon, may Visayas, may Mindanao. So, we went to Dapitan City last May 7, 2018 to appraise property, isang building. Some building overlooking yung body of water na to doon sa Dapitan, yung Dapitan Bay. Okay? So for the cost approach, ang first thing that we have to do is we need to measure the building first to get the floor area. Okay? So after measuring the floor area, we need to determine the reproduction cost per square meter. Mr. Appraiser, saan po tayo kukuha ng reproduction cost per square meter? Hindi pa po kami practicing. Hindi pa po kakapasa lang po namin. Okay? So, one way of getting the reproduction cost per square meter is through website. So, actually, marami na po guys na construction companies ang nagre-release or nagpa-publish ng kanilang mga construction costs. We also have Architect Jess Chua here in our chapter. We also have engineers. So, you can maybe, collaborate on producing these kinds of reference materials for reproduction costs. So this is just one example, no? 2026 tong mga to. So thank you for Alas Construction and Engineering Services and Pentaforma for providing us with public domain. Naka-public domain naman to, guys. So you can just go to Facebook and you can search for these construction cost guides. Okay, nandun lang po yan, online lang. So now that we have the reproduction cost per square meter, we also need to find out the age of the building. So 3 factors, no? The age of the building, the mean economic life, and the useful life to apply depreciation. We will later define what depreciation is. Okay? Ayan. So depreciation, according to the International Valuation Standards, is adjustments made to the estimated cost of creating an asset, okay, to reflect the impact on value of any obsolescence affecting the subject assets. Okay, so there is what we call physical depreciation, functional physical obsolescence, functional obsolescence, and external or economic obsolescence. So this might sound technical, but I'll show you how it is applied sa actual appraisal sa Philippines. Okay, so for the cost approach, yan. So this is our third and final case study, no? So we will be using the cost approach. We will determine the market value of a building in Dapitan City. Ang purpose ng client is corporate. Okay? So we will arrive at the value using the straight line depreciation method. Okay? So after measuring the ground, second, and third floors, we come to a total floor area of 1,350 square meters. So we estimated that the value per square meter of the buildings, of each floor is 30,000 pesos per square meter based on the materials used. And so for example, 30,000 pesos. So it will fall within the standard classification. Okay, standard lang siya. So according to our online reference sources, meron lang siyang floor tiles. So what are those tiles? Possible na ceramic and porcelain tiles yung building. Okay? Awning or casement windows. Ayan. So same lang naman sila. Ayan. Casement and sliding windows, standard size. Yung walls are painted. Okay? There's 5 sem means fiber cement. Okay? On metal furring assembly. And then yung ceiling is gypsum board, same. 5 sem. Fiber cement board. So basically, as you can see, yung mga construction costs, they are made available online. So it's up to you to research and you can see and corroborate with each other. No? Hindi na po masyadong mahirap actually maghanap ng reference points for costing ng materials. Yan. So we then apply the depreciation. Bakit po 67%? The building is 20 years old and we estimated it to have a useful life of 30 years. So 20 divided by 67. Tama po ba? 67%? 20 divided by 30, that's 67%. Okay? So that 67% is the value that the building has lost in its 20 years of existence. So nawala na siya ng 67%. If the building is new, it would cost you 40,500,000 to construct an exact replica or a satisfactory substitute nitong 3-story residential building na to. However, it is already 20 years old. So it has lost 67% of its brand new value or reproduction cost new or replacement cost new. So that 67% is equivalent to 27 million pesos. So this is the value that this building has already lost in a period of 20 years. Ang laki, di ba? So kung bago yung building mo, it will cost you 40,500,000 to construct, and given its age, it has lost 27 million to depreciation. So the remaining value of the property is 13,500,000. So brand new, the value lost, the remaining value. So that is how I think it's easier to explain all of these 3 values. Okay, so next. That's all. Thank you. So if you have any questions po, please don't hesitate to send me a message. So we will now be entertaining some questions. Ayan.
Thank you very much, Prof. Conrad, for that informative presentation. We
Thank you.
certainly learned a lot from you today. Thank you so much once again. So we will now open the floor for a short question and we would like to acknowledge the presence of Consultant Noel Cobangbang, Trustee of NREA Metro North Chapter and accredited PRC lecturer. Hello po, sir. Welcome po. And also, kung gusto nyo magkaroon ng presentation ni Prof. Conrad, please register your attendance on the link in the chat box. Okay, thank you. So, do we have any questions?
Before we answer the questions po, I'd like to acknowledge din si Prof. Noel. Hi, Prof. Nandito pala. Thank you for mga students. Nandito pala kayo. Bigla kayong dumami. Okay. So yeah, I guess Trustee Christine, we can, accept questions. Guys, by the way, I'd like to emphasize what I showed you are just some of the ways to compute the market using market approach, using cost approach, using income approach, because we only have an hour's time to present. So we were not able to present all possible computations. So those are just the most basic ways to compute. Okay? Ayan. So my question po si Secretary Frida, in your appraisal experience, brokers and owners ask this question, why do we need to hire an appraiser for our property? So thank you very much, Sec Frida. That's an excellent question. Bakit nga po ba? Bakit nga po ba? Because the buyer will always ask for the lowest possible price. The seller will always ask for the highest possible price. Alam mo yan, Trustee Christine, di ba? So the appraiser provides an objective value that is somehow in between the buyer's price and the seller's price. We will be providing an objective value. Kaya po hindi natin pwedeng ibenta yung in-appraise natin kasi we should not have a vested interest on the outcome of the transaction. Okay? So dapat po magpa-appraise tayo para malaman natin at what value can we sell the property without losing money and while still allowing for the buyers to be able to buy the property. Okay? PRO1 is asking what is arm's length transaction. So it's basically a transaction between parties that are acting independently without trying to influence one another. Okay? So if you've been appraising long enough, you will be able to memorize that without using notes. So what are the other uses of appraisal? We have expropriation. Okay? So we need to the government needs to take public land, di ba? For government projects, for hospitals, for schools, for cemeteries, for bridges, what have you. So the government needs to pay the landowner, di ba? Halimbawa, yung bahay ni Trustee Christine, dadaanan ng Skyway. Hindi naman pwedeng kunin na lang yun ng government, di ba? The government needs to provide just compensation to Trustee Christine. Now, who will say kung ano yung just compensation? It will always be the licensed real estate appraisers. Okay, we will have to testify in court the value of these properties. Also, mortgage yan. Tama si Miss Gloria. So mortgage, they need to get the appraised value for the loan computation to determine the value of the collateral and therefore the value that can be the loanable amount that can be derived from the said collateral. Ayan. Okay, so for the percentage adjustments on the grid analysis, how do you come up with 15, 20, or 30% adjustments? Okay, so usually sa corporate standard, I think alam din ni Engineer Kim and ni Sec Frida, we generally adjust from 5, 10, 15, and 20. Okay, except for the size kasi may computation siya. So, for example, sa slightly negotiable na properties, -5. Okay, -5. Slightly negotiable, -5. Negotiable lang, -10. For highly negotiable, -10. Pag rush, pwede mong i-20. Pero make sure na market value pa rin, at market pa rin siya. So 5, 10, 15, 20 per 5 to 20% per factor lang. Okay? Pag masyadong malaki ni adjustment, maghanap ka na ng ibang comparable. That is no longer comparable. So next question kay Mr. Francis Joe Gaspar. If you appraise one subject, you will use all three approaches. No. For vacant lot, talagang for a vacant lot that is not producing any any income, talagang market approach lang talaga yung magagamit mo. Okay? So, for a building only na walang income, talagang cost approach lang magagamit mo. For an income generating property, you will have to consider first the availability of pertinent data before you apply the income approach. So, wala pa naman kaming nagagawa na lahat ng approaches ginawa sa isang property because it's kind of rare. Very rare 'yun. So, how can you contact Prof. Conrad? Sa chapter na lang po. Sa chapter na lang po. So can you please give us the most common use for each approach? So common use. So market value is common for a market approach for land is common for buying, for selling, for expropriation. Cost approach is most common for insurance, for for insurance usually. And income approach is usually for audit. Okay. Ayan. Thank you, Carl, for attending. Miss Gloria Lago. Prof, clarification lang po. Applicable po ba talaga of allowance for vacancy rates sa land? I thought sa leasing or rental properties lang po. Vacancy rate applicable sa land if ano po siya, if yung tenants nyo ay hindi po siya consistent na nag-lease. Okay? And if per portion lang po ng properties yung nag-lease. Okay? Sa market approach po, if one house sold cheaper because the owner needed fast cash, does that make all houses in the area look less valuable? That's an excellent question po, Miss Melriza. If one owner, na mention ko po kanina, is trying to sell his or her property very quickly because they are in need of properties, kailangan na nila ng pera. May operahan, aalis na sila sa Pilipinas. If they, for whatever reason, need the money quickly, that's no longer market value. That's for sale value. Although, in effect, talagang nagkakaroon ng effect na pag masyado silang marami na lahat sila nagbababa ng presyo, that will now become the market. If there's only one owner na kailangan ng pera and the others are willing to wait, that's still considered market value. And what if there are no similar properties nearby to compare with? Actually, I don't know, no. For the past 10 years that we've been appraising, wala pa naman kaming, I don't know if Sec Frida and Engineer Kim and the other appraisers will agree, wala pa naman pong instance na wala talagang comparable properties. It has never happened to me in 10 years and I think doon sa mga boss ko na nag-appraise nung kasi we have bosses na hindi pa ako pinapanganak, appraiser na sila. Wala, they have been appraising longer than I've been alive. So wala pa naman silang sinasabi na wala pa silang na-appraise na naubusan daw sila ng data. Na wala pa silang nawala daw sila nakuha data. Okay? So how do we compare a brand new building with one that's 20 years old? The answer is cost approach. So you have to use cost approach doon sa building and then market approach doon sa land. Okay po? Hi sir, do we have a standard basis on determining the useful life of a certain improvement or building? Thank you. Well, you will have to consult your architects and engineers for that because kaming mga appraisers, we already have a standard na set. Unfortunately, and baka hindi ko lang pwedeng i-share kasi pinaprovide yun ng mga banks and ng mga appraisal companies sa amin. Okay? So we have a question here. I am interested to learn more. Would you have a seminar in the future? Oh, yes. I think Trusty Christine kailangan na sabihin, no? Actually, our chapter will be hosting appraisal workshop together with Secretary Frida Ismanil and together with Engineer Kim Liwag. So all of us are practicing appraisers with a lot of appraisal practice. So I hope that you will all be able to attend kasi itong pinakita namin kanina, it just looks like basic, di ba? Kasi those are the most basic forms. But we will be conducting an actual appraisal workshop where we hope that you will all be able to learn how to actually appraise. Actually appraise. Kasi if you will notice, pinakita ko yung pictures, di ba? You have to go there. You have to go outside. You have to be, you have to be sunburnt. Maputi po yung Prop niya dati. Nasunog lang yung mukha kaka-appraise and dati wala pa po akong salamin. So you have to go out. So the ones that we discussed to you are just how to compute. But the actual appraisal itself, the actual simulation, we will have something very close to that around April 25 to 26. So please wait for the poster so we can announce. Okay? Ayan. Nandito pala si Joven. Hi. Hello. Engineer Kim, if I want to pursue my appraisal career, what do I need to buy for startup? Basically, knowledge, no? Kasi the materials, for me, it's more important to learn from appraisers like, si Engineer Kim, magpa-mentor. Magpa-mentor kayo. Like our PRO, PRO1, he has multiple mentors. So you need to understand that it's less about the equipment and more about the expertise. Magpa-mentor po muna kayo. Okay? For me, that's my opinion. You need to get mentors first. Okay? Yung equipment kasi, to answer the question, you need to buy a range meter, siguro, some, a desktop for lot plotting. Kailangan po marunong tayo mag-plot. Okay? And join organizations para mas mabilis po tayong makahanap ng mga market data. Okay? So thank you for the question. Ayan, in the appraisal of buildings and machineries owned by government university, should market valuation be based on FMV or market value? So it should always it depends on the government po, no, kung ano po yung kailangan nila na value. Generally, it's the client that tells you what kind of value that they need. Okay po, yung client po magsasabi kung ano yung kailangan nila. Lalo na kung government, they already know what they need. Pero to give you all an idea, if for audit ng government, generally fair value yan. Okay? For insurance, reproduction cost on value, hindi po market value. Okay, ano po kaya, Prof, ang impact ng RP-VARA sa 3 appraisal approaches po? Well, to be honest, no, we will have to wait for the RP-VARA to be fully implemented before we can say. I cannot say for certain what the impact will be because it's not yet implemented. We will be stepping into a whole new different world of different values, different basis, no? Okay. So,
Ayun, ano ba to?
Question, you mentioned that you gathered some data on the municipality. However, what if they tell us the zonal value of the property within the area? Can I consider it as a good listing or good data? So that's an excellent question din po, no? So it's up to us to use our professional judgment. Generally, kung zonal value lang, yung sinabi nila na value, wag na nating gamitin. Kasi what we need is actual selling data. Okay, we will include kasi we can determine the zonal value ourselves. Kaya natin makuha yung zonal value with the with a few taps of our fingers. Kaya po natin makuha yung zonal value. So we cannot use the zonal value as market data. We include that in the report, but we cannot use the zonal value as a source of data. Generally, hindi lang po tayo pwedeng bumaba doon, but we cannot consider it as a good listing or a good data. Generally, kapag zonal value. Okay? Ayun, I think trust si Christine. I think okay na yung questions.
Question, do you accept mentorships?
Mentorships. May question si ito pala may mentorships. It depends po. Kasi like last week kakapunta lang ng Lawag. So di ba? Medyo
Okay, so very fast. Thank you much to those who shared their questions. Okay, at this point, we will proceed with the awarding. Hello. Yeah. At this point, we will proceed with the awarding of a certificate to Prof. Conrad as a token of appreciation for sharing his knowledge and expertise with us today. Certificate of Appreciation proudly presented to Prof. John Conrad Cruz for sharing his invaluable expertise on the topic Real Estate Appraisal, 3 Approaches to Value, and for his outstanding support which significantly contributed to the success of this event. His contribution has greatly enriched the knowledge and professional development of the participants and helped make this learning session meaningful and impactful. Given this 14th day of March 2026, signed Jesus T. Chua, Executive Vice President, and Mary Joy D. Gochanco, Chapter President. Once again,
Thank you
thank
po,
you
thank you.
very much, Prof. Conrad Cruz.